Welcome to the Engineer's RV channel. This is a little deep dive into my new water system. This will be part one of two videos. This one will explain how this works and what it is, and the second one will go into a little bit deeper technical dive. So after 1 year of camping in the RPOD, I do a lot of boondocking and just had a lot of issues with the water system that didn't work for me, and this solves almost all of those problems. But the big issue was that I had no way to filter, no way to fill the tank, no way to filter the tank, and I was using way too much water in the system. And so this solves that. So what we've done, I think before we get deep into this, I just want to show you two other mods I've made to save water. We'll get up here. In the sink, I got this little extension that extends right here, this little brass piece, and that has a 1.2 gallon per minute limiter. The limiters that I could find online, the disc did not fit in without the extension. So that still gives me plenty of water for my sink, but it limits me to about a gallon a minute now. And then in the shower, I replaced with the Osmonics shower head. And what the Osmonics shower head does, not only does it just aim better and feel better and all that, but it mixes air in with the water. So it uses, I can get it to work on about a half a gallon a minute. So it saves a lot of water, but it doesn't feel like a trickle shower because it mixes air in with a little propeller to force it through, and really great shower head. Anyway, so back to the problems I'm trying to solve. What we have here, to explain the system real quick, and I do want to say I made almost no changes to the existing plumbing. I was just able to unscrew it pretty much and add new plumbing onto it and then screw that into the old plumbing. So it wasn't very destructive. But what we have is we have a pump, standard pump, and then we have an accumulator tank. Now the accumulator tank gives me a little bit of water when the pump's off, and it also reduces pump cycling, so just the pump doesn't have to work as hard, much easier on the pump. I have a second, from there I go into a pressure gauge, and the purpose of this pressure gauge is just to kind of check what the outside water is. Also, when I'm troubleshooting and blowing air through the line to winterize, it gives me a way to see if I have a leak and make sure it's holding pressure. So it's just kind of a general clue. I pump everything up to 55. Well, we'll get back to that in a second. And then we have a water filter. This water filter is a 1/2 micron cartridge. It's a 1/2 micron carbon block with the with lead filter, and that is about 40 times better finer filtration than most RV water filters. It's still not enough if you have unsafe water. If you're dealing with live water or microbiologically unsound water, this is a 1/2 micron nominal filter. You need 0.2 microns absolute, and they do make those filters. They're a lot more expensive, so you do want to change that out with one of those if you're using unsafe water or live water or unknown water. Anyway, from there we go into a second water filter. So we have plenty of pressure here, or excuse me, second pressure regulator. So you have plenty of pressure. In fact, 55 psi is what I've set the pump to for the accumulator tank and to force the pressure through the water filter. And the second regulator, the purpose of that is to reduce the pressure to 30 psi. It's still plenty of pressure for hand washing, for dishes, for showers, but it doesn't use as much water. And so that's the purpose of that. So just to show you how this works, you'll notice we have the pump off. Everything is charged up. We're at about 30 psi. And I'll just show you there is plenty of water in the tank. So we have about 1 liter of water with a slow flow. That'll get me by for a while. You can see as we talk, it's starting to go down. So I'm going to turn the pump on here, and you see the water flow will start to go up, and it'll turn off once it charges the tank. So the purpose of this now, you'll notice I'm running off the tank, and the tank can be questionable. You know, you can have, even if you sanitize it, that doesn't mean you didn't have bacteria growth in the tank, especially on a hot day, especially if you filled it with unchlorinated water that wasn't from a city, you know, the live water at camp stations. So the filter comes after the tank. It also comes after the city water. So when city water comes in, it comes into at this point here, and it also goes through the water filter. So this will filter anything in the tank. It'll also give you a second order of filtering for any city water. Now I've also added 2 valves. This is the original valve that we had, and this is the original valve from the antifreeze. But there's a neat trick. If you just put a longer hose on it and add the second valve here that dumps back into the tank. So we'll turn this on to dump back into the tank, and we'll turn this on, and now what happens is I'm sucking water out of a jerry can, and I'm putting it back into the tank. So we're coming out of here, coming into the pump, and then out of the system back into the tank because it's valved off here. I'm going to shut this off, and it'll fill the pressure tank back up and stop, hopefully. I think it's struggling because it got a little bit of air. Or did I turn this? There we go. struggling because I had a little bit of air from this, and that's why I was struggling a little bit there, but it still worked. So the purpose of this is I got tired of holding a jerry can to the outside and trying to dump it in the gravity feed here, and this is just much easier. I have a line. I can put it in a jerry can. I can run it out the window. That's why I left it long. So that's the purpose of these two valves. Now, the other thing I can do is I can use this to fill my tank with outside water and still use the filter. So we'll go outside and look at the outside water, and then I will explain that. Did I turn the pump off? Well, maybe not. We'll come back and check that in a second. So this is my outside water system, and it consists, it's a little overkill, but what we have is a strainer that gets all the, I call it the lizards, and sticks out any big garbage. This pressure regulator is set to a lower pressure. It's just to protect your RV from high pressure lines. I have a little shutoff valve. This tells me how many gallons I'm using. Not super important, but it's kind of nice to fill the tank. If I know it's a 30-gallon tank, I know when I'm getting close to filling the tank. And then I use one of these. I don't like those RV filters. They hang, they're expensive, they hang and add friction, but mostly they're disposable and they don't filter good. Most of them are 20 microns, which really is worthless. So I have a 5-micron carbon block that'll get bleach and some of the taste stuff out. A 5 microns are a little bit small, so if I have real cloudy, bad water, it might clog, but they're inexpensive filters. If I was just using that, I'd put a 0.5 micron in there, but that's a 5 micron, gets most of the stuff out. And that is, so that is what? That's about 4 times as fine as most of the RV filters. And I've never seen one of those inline RV filters any finer than that. So much less expensive, replaceable, much more flow rate. I come out of there, and then I have one of these little adapters to right angle to take the strain off. So we will open this up and let the water in, and I'll come. So now we're not running on the pump, we're running on the city water. And the beautiful thing about this now is that same city water, sure, I can, whoops, turn the pump off. So yes, I can use that city water to run my system just fine. But the beautiful thing is it comes in and it still goes through the same system. So it still goes through the internal second filter, still pressurizes everything. And then with this filter, I can turn this on. And you can hear it's running through the filter and going into the tank. So again, much easier way to fill the tank rather than trying to hang it in that gravity filter and stand there and hold it and wait until so it's just a matter of adding one more valve here and it comes back in. So that's the extent of the system. The one thing I have not done, I have an on-demand hot water heater, and it's pretty hard to keep that going at small draws, so I will eventually put either a Showermeister type system in, or I will put a recirculation pump in to recirculate that back to the hot water heater so that I don't need as much water when I'm showering. But that's the gist. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thanks a lot.